What is going on, guys? Jacob here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. I just got done making a video that y'all saw yesterday talking about how Tua is expected to be back and pretty much guaranteed to be back. Expect to be back against the Arizona Cardinals next week. We'll see Tua come back. And this is now the video talking about the team as a whole, what I expect for this team going forward after the bye week. Taking a look at the schedule, and when we got the schedule early on, or just in the offseason in general, I was really fearful for what this team was going to have to face coming out of our bye week, especially these first 2 weeks. I expected a lot more from the Colts and the Cardinals from what we've seen from them so far this season. The Colts, with Anthony Richardson, he has not taken the steps forward that I expect him to develop as a passer. Just had the most beautiful pass maybe I've ever seen week 1 against the Texans, where he's fallen backwards, delivers it on a rope 60 yards down the field for an Alec Pierce touchdown. But he has not developed. His short to intermediate game is not really developed in terms of being able to read a defense that well. On top of the fact he's sustaining more injury issues, and the team has looked better with Joe Flacco under center, but he probably will be back, as in Anthony Richardson will probably be back when we play them this upcoming Sunday. And then the same thing with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, he's coming back full strength from his ACL injury that he sustained 2 years ago, and the offense is not clicking. The defense is bleeding points right now. So 2 really good games coming out of the bye week. 1 game with Tyler Huntley, 1 game with Tua hopefully playing the remainder of the season. And then there's occasional hard games sprinkled across the rest of the schedule. We follow that game up with the Bills in Buffalo, and let's just be real. We can just check that off as an L right now. That there's no chance I think we go into Buffalo looking at what they did, even when Tua was in the game a few weeks ago now, about a month ago now. Even in fact, it feels like it was yesterday, just in terms of how painful that was. But Cardinals, Bills, Cardinals, Colts the week before that, and then the Bills, and then Rams, Raiders, Patriots. You're looking at, I think, wins against Colts, Cardinals, Rams, Raiders, Patriots. 5 out of the 6 games coming back from a bye week are very, very winnable. You have rookie quarterback Drake May probably getting the start there. Anthony Richardson, who's been letting down. Kyler Murray, that Cardinals offense has been letting down. The Raiders, they have just so many things going wrong. Alec Pierce, a really good story last year in terms of what he did when taking over the team. That win against the Chiefs was pretty notable last year. I think that was on Christmas. Just there's nothing going good with them. They can't figure out the quarterback situation. Their running back situation is awful. Max Crosby is the only thing good on that team, and he's extremely frustrated right now. But you look further onto the schedule, and then that's when it starts to pick the heat back up. Games against the Packers, games against the Texans, games against the 49ers, a couple games against the Jets, and then what hopefully should be a cupcake game with the Browns later on in the season. I don't even know who the starting quarterback will be at that point. It feels like the Browns are just handcuffed to have to play Deshaun Watson for the remainder of the season, but who knows? There might be full anarchy amongst Browns fans if Watson is still a starter at that point. So you look at that schedule, just the schedule for what it is. You take the hard games, you take the easy games. There are certainly, I think, more easy games than there are hard games. You have the Jets twice. They fired Robert Saleh. I'm recording this on Monday. I have no idea what's going to go on here on Monday Night Football tonight, so what I'm about to say could look very stupid, but I do expect the Jets to come out with a little bit more urgency and a little bit of a bite to them tonight against the Bills. Off the top of my head, I don't know if it's in Buffalo or if it's in New York. I don't remember. I didn't check. But I do expect the Jets to look decently well. I really expect that take to fall flat on its face, but the Buffalo Bills passing offense has been absolutely terrible. But like I said, 2 games against the Jets, Patriots, Raiders, Rams, Cardinals, Colts, hard games there with the Bills, the Packers, the Texans, and the 49ers. 49ers themselves also haven't looked fully up to par to what we expected of them, but still a very good football team. So looking at the schedule, certainly what I would think to be a winning schedule from here on out. 2-3 coming back from a bye week. I think 10-7 is very realistic. Let's say we win all those easy games and lose all those hard games. Maybe you somehow drop like one of those games against the Jets, and somehow you end up beating a team like the 49ers at home. So swap those around. That's still a 10-7 season, and that's very realistically a wild card spot. And if the Jets beat the Bills tonight, Dolphins are only half game out of first place in the AFC East. A race that we've been in the last 2 seasons. Last year, obviously falling just short to the Bills at home last game of the season, literally last game of the regular season, just falling short. So the divisional crown is still very much within reach, as well as a playoff grab in general via the wild card is still very much within reach. And now for the team itself. What do I expect the team to look like coming back from the bye week? First, most important thing to talk about is the offense. The offensive-minded team with Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, a head coach that has come under a lot of scrutiny since Tua has gone down with his injury. And A lot of which I think is fair, a lot of which coming from me here on this channel, that I've seen Mike McDaniel unable to pivot off of what the offense looks like with Tua and without Tua. The record without Tua has been abysmal. I think he's only won 2 games in his head coaching career without Tua under center. But then coming back against the Patriots, getting that win, a game that the Dolphins really should have won that game by like 2 or 3 scores, individual errors, a missed field goal, a bad snap on a field goal, an interception on our own side of the field, allowing the Patriots to go down and score a touchdown. It could have easily been a 27-3 game instead of a 15-10 game, but that's neither here nor there. Mike McDaniel before that against the Titans, against the Seahawks, even against the Bills with Tua in the lineup, there was some fair criticism about how he was unable to shift off of his game plan when it was not working. And then we saw against the Patriots him going to a possession-based game instead of a big play-based game where he was able to put together multiple 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-play drives, which for most NFL teams is not really seen as an accomplishment. But the Dolphins last year ran one of the fewest amount of plays in the league, but just because of their ability to get those big plays, we're able to have the #1 offense in the league. And we saw the complete opposite of that against the Patriots. Had the time of possession, barring turnovers, barring missed field goals, would have had much more points put up on the board, and we were able to really control the ball. Felt like we controlled the game, even though we were obviously lacking some talent and saw some injuries within that game. I was fairly content with how that game went, even just a 5-point game against the Patriots. Mike McDaniel, again, a lot of scrutiny for the Seattle Seahawks performance, where the offense had nothing going for them. Tennessee Titans, same thing, nothing going. It was just screens all day, underneath routes for Tyler Huntley. But maybe a lot of that was because of the quarterbacks being unfamiliar with the offense. You have one more game coming up here with Tyler Huntley here against the Indianapolis Colts. And Indianapolis Colts defense, which is also not very good, talks about the Cardinals defense not being very good. The Colts defense is not that very good. You have Tyler Huntley with just another week of preparation here in this bye week where he just really could get fully integrated into this offense. This next week, I do expect maybe a little bit more big plays from Tyler Huntley, and that's going to then open up the wheels for Tyler Huntley. I do expect a 200-plus passing performance for Tyler Huntley coming up here this week, as well as maybe 50 on the ground. I like Tyler Huntley to have a good game here against the Colts, but we're really looking more forward into the rest of the season with Tua in this offense. And this offense I do expect to return to its full strength that we saw from the last season, where there was #1 offense in the league. It might take Tua a few weeks to get comfortable with the offense. I like that we have the Cardinals and that bad defense coming up, and then the Bills is probably going to be a rough game for the Dolphins, where I kind of expected to go like the first game did against the Bills. But this offense, I think, found a new rhythm that we also hadn't seen a lot. The ability to run between the tackles, which we saw in the Patriots game. Devon Achane goes down with a concussion. This team is so reliant on the outside zone running scheme, which I don't think is very sustainable long-term in terms of a full season. And we saw that against the Tennessee Titans, where they just had to move their big guys from sideline to sideline, and they got it done, which not a lot of teams can do. The Tennessee Titans have a really good defense, a really good defensive line. They were able to move that defensive line quicker than we were able to move our offensive line, and that was what ultimately led them just absolutely stifling the Dolphins' offense. But then when Raheem Mostert came back and Jalen Wright having his first big game of the season, all of the work was really done between the tackles. And the ability to run between the tackles, run up the middle, piece by piece, 4-yard gain, 4-yard gain, 5-yard gain. It then opened up bigger plays on the ground in the second half, and more particularly in the fourth quarter. We saw Jalen Wright have, I think, multiple 15-yard carries. Raheem Mostert looked really good. And we saw the Dolphins do something that I've never seen the Dolphins do. Be able to punch a team in the mouth, out-physical a team. It was the Patriots, but I think this opens up a new opportunity for how the Dolphins can win games. This was a big criticism of mine last year, that we could only win one way, and we saw that so far this season too, except for that Patriots game. We were not able to out-physical our opponents. We were not able to play a little bit of bully ball. Patriots, who won with bully ball, and now Tua is coming back, so you have now a blueprint of how to play bully ball against a team in terms of what we saw against the Patriots, as well as the big play ability with Tua coming back and his ability to run this offense. I expect the offense to be a lot better. I expect the points to be up there, and I expect the defense to continue to play well. If you just look at the numbers wouldn't tell you that the defense is playing well. Right now, looking at 18th in terms of points per game in the NFL, but a lot of that came in that Buffalo Bills game where the offense set up the defense in very poor positions. Jags game, a line below 20 points. Seahawks game, a line below 20 points. Tennessee game, fourth quarter, it really could have been a 20-point game, but another situation where the offense is setting the defense up in bad positions, and then the Patriots game only allowing 10 points. The defense, in my opinion, has looked really good this season, away from the numbers. Javon Holland goes down. That sucks. You lose your second best player in the secondary. Jalen Ramsey's playing well, but he hasn't had his interception yet. He hasn't had a big play to really put himself on the mark in terms of this season. But he's played very well. Overall, Anthony Weaver has brought more of a toughness to this team and more of a cohesiveness, as I just don't think the team very much liked Vic Fangio from what we heard from him after he was fired last year. So the defense is playing well, it's playing physical, it's playing fast. When the offense is not setting up in very poor positions, it's getting the job done, and the numbers look so much better in those games than in the games where the offense is setting them up in their own territory. So I like where the defense is at. I like where the offense is at. I like where the schedule's at. It's very hard to be positive as a Dolphins fan over this last month or so with all that's gone wrong, Tua's injury, the losses we've sustained. But if the Jets somehow win tonight, again, y'all know what happened. It's probably not going to happen. The Bills are probably going to win by 20. But if they do, you're looking at a half-game lead the Bills will have. I think the Bills will have at the top of the division. Bills or the Jets, whatever it is, they'll have at the top of the division. We'll be 2-3 coming back. 2 very winnable games. A difficult game against the Bills, and then 3 easy games with the Rams, the Raiders, and the Patriots. This team very much can still make the playoffs. That is so difficult to comprehend as a Dolphins fan, but this team can still very much make the playoffs. The team can still very much win the division. And there's been a lot of reasons to not have hope over the last month or so. But it's looking like things are starting to turn the page. And as a Dolphins fan, when things look like they're starting to turn a page, when things are starting to look like they're going to get better, usually they don't. But every sign right now, minus Achane's concussion and Javon Holland's breaking his hand, everything is, you can see the page isn't turned. It's not right there, right? It's like you got your hand on it. It's like right there. It's just about right there. There's still some things that have to go into place. It's not exactly confirmed that Tua will play in the Arizona Cardinals game, but all signs point to it. He comes back. I think the team should be 3-3 when he comes back, and then a 10-7 season from there on out. Could make the playoffs. Could very well win the division. What are your expectations for this Dolphins team going forward for the rest of the season? Let me know down below. What do you think of the offense? What do you think of the defense? What do you think about Tua coming back? What do you think about Mike McDaniel? Let me know down below in the comments. While down there, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Appreciate y'all very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Go Dolphins.